As many of you know, I'm under the belief that we have exited the bear market and are now in the accumulation phase before the bull market begins. And because of this, I have been adamant on the channel that even if there's a black swan event that sends Bitcoin to a new yearly low and then it doesn't do anything for 6 months, that the worst is very likely behind us. And because of this mindset, I was able to accumulate on certain cryptos at beautiful prices, such as MATIC at 40 cents, Solana at $13, or Ethereum right at $1,100. And moving forward with this same dollar cost average mindset, what I want to do is to create a brand new portfolio that we build here on the main channel and over in the Patreon, in which we dedicate it specifically to the accumulation phase that we're in right now, so that when the bull market does come around, we can truly see the fruits of our labor. And so in today's video, I'm going to bring you the 5 cryptos that I started this portfolio with and the biggest reasons as to why I purchased them. So with that said, let's begin. So to start the portfolio off, I added 0.02 Bitcoin and about 0.25 ETH, which totaled right around $1,100. Now, I'm not going to go super in depth about why I added them to this portfolio. Most of you understand why Bitcoin and Ethereum are so important, but there are 2 main reasons as to why I did it, so let's cover those briefly. The main reason, of course, was for portfolio stability amongst economic uncertainty. You see, one thing that is clear is that the world is still facing a ton of economic uncertainty, especially as the United States is now entering into recessionary talks, with people believing a recession could be in place before the end of the year. Now, as that does happen, of course, we're starting to see liquidity dry up substantially from most markets, which is obviously going to impact crypto. So as a result of this, I decided to add Bitcoin and Ethereum to my portfolio because they require the least amount of liquidity to actually see some growth, and they're really just the more stable options of most of the top 10. Now, the next reason, which pairs up quite well with what we just talked about, is the fact that they are facing the least amount of macro uncertainty, especially amongst the top 10 cryptos. Due to the fact that the Shanghai upgrade has now been complete for Ethereum and people aren't so concerned that the price is absolutely gonna nuke due to some massive inflow of supply, people seem to be kind of relaxing on ETH right now, and there's not this huge cloud of uncertainty above its head at the moment. Now, when you pair that with the fact that Bitcoin seems to be the one thing that many of these regulators are leaving alone and not trying to target, it obviously makes this duo the clear choice for the anchor of the portfolio, and of course that's the main reasons as to why I did purchase it. And so with that out the way, let's get into the fun part of this video and talk about the 3 additions that we made that are a little bit more risky. So first up, I added 22 Solana to my portfolio, or roughly $240 at the time of purchase. Now, although I did make a video about why I just added $8,500 worth of Solana to my main portfolio, let's do a quick breakdown of exactly why I am still dollar cost averaging, even when people are saying that this thing is going to zero. The first reason, of course, being its establishment of credibility. Now, although there will be people who disagree, I believe that Solana has done an absolutely amazing job at building its credibility, especially within the last 6 months. I mean, they have gone through literally every bad thing that you could possibly think of as a crypto within the last year. From network outages to hacks to exploits and scams, and of course massive inflows of supply due to their VC backers collapsing, they have seen it all. And although their price has clearly taken a beating because of these things, Solana as a team has shown that they are willing to overcome anything that is thrown at them. And so as time goes on, I believe that this is building up their credibility, and it gives people more faith in the company that they will be able to make it no matter what. And whenever people have confidence in a company like that and they're willing to dollar cost average just like I am doing now, it usually will be reflected quite clearly in the price, especially in the next bull market, so I cannot wait to see how that plays out. Reason number 2 is Solana's ability to adapt and evolve. So as I mentioned before, this was the thing that caught my attention the most and the reason why I invested into them in the first place. Think back to 2021 when all of those trends were popping up: metaverse, GameFi, NFTs, and more. We saw Solana able to adapt and evolve their overall mission to appease and appeal to each one of those new and excited crowds. And the fact that they were able to adapt their ecosystems to be able to absorb each one of these trends allowed them to see the growth that they saw before. And I believe that with the new credibility that they have, that this will be even more prominent within the next bull market, or possibly as soon as the end of this year. And so because of this, in my opinion, I think Solana has a fair chance of being one of the earliest movers within the bull market, simply because of their ability to adapt to these new trends and absorb them, bringing on many more investors in the process. Now, of course, there is still a risk, so let's talk about what the main risk for the Solana addition is. The main reason for risk is the Alameda token uncertainty. What we have to remember is that Alameda Research holds over 13% of the total token supply of Solana. Now, because of this, many people are going to remain skeptical, wondering what's going to happen to those tokens as they do move forward through the bankruptcy process. Considering the fact that there is the risk of those tokens being injected into the market, raising the supply, probably dropping the demand and causing the price itself to nuke, many people are going to be concerned that this this might not be the best play. And so if that is the case, people may start to not purchase Solana when the market pumps, and then similar to XRP in 2021, we might not see Solana reach its truest potential. So with that said, of course, we will continue to monitor it and maybe have to make some changes in the future, but as of now, I am very confident that Solana will see some growth, and I will of course update you as it happens. So let's now move into the next addition to our portfolio, in which I added 200 MATIC, which is worth about $200. Now the main reason that I added MATIC to my portfolio is the fact that I believe they have the lowest level of uncertainty amongst the top 10 altcoins. It seems to me as if Polygon has done the best job of maintaining a sense of professionalism, avoiding scandals, and doing everything by the book. I mean, realistically, think about the last time that you heard someone call Polygon a fraud or a scam, or say that they were doing scandalous activities. Yeah, I don't know the last time either. And so because of this, it seems as if when we're in a world or in an environment in which there's so much uncertainty surrounding CZ and Binance, or surrounding Solana and their tokens and things of that nature, being able to find a token that is just as good as them in terms of technology, if not better, but doesn't have all of these scandalous problems, is probably one of those tokens that we need to add to the portfolio. I believe that this is exactly what contributed to MATIC seeing its growth from 40 cents all the way back up to $1.20 in the middle of a bear market. And so as I do believe this will continue, especially into the next bull market, it's one of those cryptos that I absolutely had to add. Now the next reason that we added MATIC to our portfolio is due to their commitment to expansion. In the last year, we have seen MATIC partner with some of the largest companies in the world. Some of them to note are Adidas, DraftKings, Meta, Stripe, Adobe, the NFL, and more. The fact that they were capable of pulling all of this off in the middle of a bear market when many companies were looking at crypto as a dead man's land says something about the fact that what they are doing is working, and I cannot wait to see the results and what type of impact this has in a bull market, especially when people realize the amount of value that they've added to their platform as a whole. And so with that said, this was one of those absolutely must-haves in the portfolios, but of course, there is still that risk. Now, the main risk for MATIC, at least in my opinion, is the popcorn effect. As I mentioned before, in the last year, we saw MATIC's price go from lows of 30 cents as high as $1.20. And because of this, sometimes in crypto, we will see something called the popcorn effect, which is when everything else isn't really doing much. There's that one crypto that absolutely shoots up, but then it starts to consolidate and go sideways as some of the other cryptos start to catch up. And if people are under the belief that MATIC is about to do that, it's about to slow down and consolidate, it needs a little bit of time before its next move, they may start to put their money in other places, meaning that we could see better opportunities for growth in other cryptos. But in my mind, if the biggest risk here is that its price just might not go up as much as the rest, especially after what we just talked about, it's definitely a risk worth taking, and it's not really a risk that I'm all that worried about at all. So now that I'm done harping about how much I love Polygon, let's move into the last edition of our portfolio, in which I added over 400 XRP, or right around $200 worth. Now, similar to what we talked about in the last video on XRP, the main reason why I'm so bullish is due to the diminishment of respect for the SEC. I believe that as of recently, the SEC has lost a substantial amount of respect and credibility amongst the majority of the United States. And as that does continue to happen, the likelihood of them seeing success over Ripple in their lawsuit also starts to slowly go down. And with other major players such as Coinbase joining the fight against the SEC, it seems like Ripple's chances are simply just getting higher and higher and better and better. And considering the fact that this very case is what stopped XRP from seeing its true potential in the 2021 market, I cannot imagine what's going to happen to its price once these chains are finally broken, because I do believe it could be one of the biggest catalysts that the world of crypto has ever seen. Now, the second reason we added them to the portfolio was due to their durability and their trust from their community. Very similar to Solana, I have been extremely impressed by the team's ability to stay committed to not only themselves and their company, but the community that supports them. Most people who are new to crypto don't really realize how bad it was when this SEC lawsuit first started for Ripple. I mean, this was a time when liquidity in crypto was low as a whole. The investor base was nowhere near as big as it is now. Most people were still skeptical that crypto even had a future, and so when you have a major regulatory body suing a company, that is an absolutely horrible mixture for a really, really bad time. And as a result of this, we saw major exchanges delisting them. We saw investors turning their back on them, and we saw many crypto experts saying that XRP was a thing of the past and probably wouldn't even make it a year. But through all of this, XRP has not only remained durable enough to survive, but committed enough to grow. And as a result of this, the community trusts them. They have instilled so much faith into them because they're confident that no matter what comes to XRP, no matter what approaches and what problems arise, that they will be able to figure it out. And whenever you are an investor, that is all you can ask for, is for a company to be committed enough to you to try their best to get themselves out of any situation that could put you into harm's way. And so because of all of these things, from the potential of growth to their durability to their community, I believe that this is one of those cryptos that could very well end up being one of the biggest positions in this portfolio, but of course time will tell. Now, let's not sit here and pretend like there is not a risk, because there absolutely is. The risk here, of course, is still the uncertainty around the SEC lawsuit. Now, this isn't something I have to go super in-depth about. You understand the risk here. When you're in a lawsuit and so much is built up around it, if you lose that lawsuit, you are going to see a collapse in price. Maybe not forever, but definitely in the short term. So while there is still a lot of agenda pushing and a lot of corruption within the government, in my opinion, we are still at risk of seeing Ripple lose this case, which I believe would be super destructive to the price, at least for a short period of time, which would of course be the biggest risk that we face by adding it to this portfolio. But overall, again, as I mentioned before, I'm starting to like our odds, especially as Congress is starting to turn on the SEC. So we'll of course pay very close attention to it, and I will update you as it does play out in any changes that we do make. So these are the 5 holdings that we have in the portfolio, and I do plan on building and adding to this every single week. My Patreon members will be the first ones to find out about what I'm thinking about adding, what I do add, what I sell, what I transfer, what I trade. So make sure if you do want access to that, you do go down to the link in the comment section below, and you will be able to get access to the Patreon down there. But if you do want even more information about how 2 of our additions from today are changing and possibly even saving crypto, make sure that you do check out this video right here.